Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Independence of me, Ernest Hancock, and my good friend Walter Block. You know, this argument's been going on for a long time. What can we do to further freedom? Because that's the goal. That's the goal. Now, some people have the opinion that, man, if you're sitting there advocating you think you're going to be able to vote yourself free, it's like you haven't been paying attention. But I have definitely made, for decades, have definitely made use of the political process to have the soapbox. You mean, I can get up here for free and say, y'all suck? Okay, I'll do that. You know, so there's a lot of ways to look at it, and I always am very encouraging of young people to express themselves, especially when it has the attention of people, when people are paying attention. And you can get concepts, just bumper stickers like in the Fed. This was never an issue before. Never. Not in my lifetime. And they thought that they would be able to do all this crap that they do, and nobody would ever understand what was going on. Here comes Dr. Paul saying, hello, got some information for you. Well, now we be learnified. Now what? Now freaking what? As this whole thing comes crashing down, we have some understanding. If that in and of it, if that one thing is the legacy of Dr. Paul's efforts, man, that's freaking good enough as far as I'm concerned. But Walter Block is of the mind that, man, getting involved in direct politics, we can have an even bigger impact. So I want to give you an opportunity, Walter, to encourage the people to do, what do you think they should do? I mean, is it register Republican, go in, slap them around, and so on? I mean, how would you advocate that they, like the military, they're giving money more than all the other candidates combined they give. And you look at the average donation, it's way lower for Dr. Paul than anybody else because everybody's giving their $5, $10, $20, because they care. So what do you encourage them to do?
Well, I think that it's sort of like the question, do you like vanilla, chocolate, or pistachio ice cream or cherry ice cream? Each person has to pick their own way to liberty. My own specialization, if I can call it that, is not voting. I once ran for office when I was a young lad in 1973, but since then my main contribution has been more in the intellectual. I'm a professor. I teach students. I encourage them to become professors, get a PhD in economics, and teach Austrian economics themselves. I write for the journals. I write books. So I'm more of an intellectual than, I'm more of an intellectual than a politician, but I'm not a politician at all. The Free State Project is of interest. There's the Patrick Friedman, the grandson of Milton Friedman, has this seasteading thing where he's going to set up an island in the ocean.
Oh, we're definitely paying attention to that.
Well, I'm not a big fan of that, but, as Uncle Mao said, let 1,000 flowers bloom, and, different people should choose different ways to liberty, but nobody is criticizing the Free State Project. Nobody is criticizing the idea of a think tank or a magazine or a radio show like you've got here. No one is criticizing, well, some people are criticizing being professors, but that's another story. I had a little debate with Gary North over that. But not everyone, but a lot of people are criticizing voting. Now, why pick one of the many flowers and say that alone shouldn't be? Why pick on poor Ron Paul or Rand Paul, who is also magnificent? But why pick on these guys who are doing yeoman work for liberty? It's just crazy. So my advice for young people is choose whatever is the most fun. I have a co-author, Bill Barnett, and he and I co-author a lot of stuff, and usually we've got 5 or 6 articles that are floating around. And sometimes we ask each other, what should we work on now? And my answer is, work on what's the most fun, because we're supposed to have fun on this life and on this earth. And if promoting liberty is fun, that's great. And how to promote liberty? Well, in the way that's the most fun for you. Now, you're having fun with this radio program. You do a magnificent job. And I think you should keep doing it because you're having fun at it. I wouldn't say quit the job and, go get a PhD in economics and be a professor. That's crazy. On the other hand, I'm not really a radio show type person, so I wouldn't do what you do. So, again, my advice to young people is to promote liberty and to promote liberty in a way that is the most fun for you.
You know, I want to get your comment on this. I don't talk about it often on air, and it's you have to understand, I was intimately involved in the Ron Paul promotion, Lovolution. Everybody do what they want. I go to towns and all over across America, and this is how just go. I don't care. Well, and they're looking for some permission slip to get from somewhere. And I'm looking, man, if you think you need to ask permission of the man to resist the man, you deserve to be told no. I mean, just go. What are you wait? And then you have to overcome this hurdle. They're so afraid to put on chain link on a freeway, this sign, thinking they're going to go to the gulag. Well, heck, that was the first thing they needed to learn right there. Well, if they do, just make sure you get it on videotape. I mean, this is so we've had a big impact on freeing their mind because it had been put into a cage. You have to, if it's not, denied, it's required kind of mentality. So I'm going, that was the first hurdle that we could get over. When we were able to do that, you could see in traditional politics inside the GOP, it made them angry because we were bypassing their control system. I had challenged 44 election laws all the way to the Ninth Circuit in the early 90s. That's what made me how I understood how the system worked. And I could see that you could bypass all of that if you just didn't care what they said, didn't go inside the system, didn't worry about the media. You just went peer-to-peer directly with other people. You could do it with signs, and then with the internet, it directed them towards other people doing the same thing, and it exploded. This was something that they did not see coming, and it was so neon flashing obvious to a lot of us here and why we did it. But I understand the argument that if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, are you in support of the system that's devouring you? So I'm going.
I don't see how you're really in support of the system if you're voting or supporting Ron Paul, have a yard sign, because Ron Paul is. No.
And the reason it's not that. I certainly advocate supporting Dr. Paul. It's the system so corrupt. I don't trust the computers. I don't trust the party structure. I don't trust their caucuses. How many times did they just flip off lights? Hog the microphone, not let people speak, not their own processes by which you would do in this, democracy thing. They just made it up as they went along. And do you think they're going to do it again?
Like in Syria and in other places, Egypt, they were threatening to shut down the internet because of the Arab Spring, and we all said here, "Oh, this is horrible." But now. Because of the London riots, and there have been some riots in the U.S., and the Vancouver Canucks lost a hockey game, and there was a riot in Vancouver, Canada. They're threatening to shut down the web there, too. I think the computer is magnificent. Many years ago, the only way to get news was CBS, NBC, and ABC. And maybe the Washington Post and the New York Times.
And it was the same 5 stories for 300 and something million people. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right, but now, thanks to the Internet, I mean, LouRockwell.com, I think, is one of the most popular websites of all political websites. That's where my article, Attacking Stefan Molyneux, came out, which is why you contacted me. But before the web, we wouldn't have had that. I could never get in the New York Times. You could never get on NBC or ABC because our views are libertarian, and libertarian views are not very popular among the ruling class.
Well, I could get on whenever I wanted. It was just more creative. That's my expertise. I can always get on. It's just you gotta trick them. They're so easy though. And the thing is that Dr. Paul deserves our support because I tell you this from my personal perspective, and this goes to Dr. Paul. It's kind of open letter, Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul, I tell you, you just keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep doing what I'm doing because there has never been. And, there was one other gentleman, Judge John Buttrick here. He ran for governor in 94. He's a judge here in Arizona. He's set to retire pretty soon. He may get involved in libertarian politics. But, I mean, he did such a good job in 94 and was so pure in his principles that I could put my head down and plow. And when Dr. Paul made the announcement he was willing to kind of sort of almost maybe have a blue ribbon panel to think about running, I was all in right away because I knew that I could put my head down, put all my effort, my family, my friends, the endorsement of my name, whatever it took, that I could do what I could to help Dr. Paul stay in the race, to have this message broadcast to the planet. And the bad guys, they didn't even have a clue what was coming. And I could just put head down and plow without having to worry about making excuses for him, because I could say he speaks for me. And that's why I did it. And that's why I encourage you to do it. Unless you got somebody better, in a better position, with a bigger soapbox. And if you don't, Dr. Paul for us all. Thanks to Walter Block for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Thanks for having me on your show.
You bet. Hold on right there. I want to talk to you. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.